if it really wants to survive in religion, economically you might survive, or in absorption, because now there's a new term which has come in, which is called globalization. Do you know that? This new term has already entered the thinking of the whole community, human community. It is called globalization. That means one culture for the whole globe. That globalization will come how? Through CNN, through satellite TVs, and all that, so that the whole world, up to jungle of Zaire and the remote countries of Thailand and Cambodia, and everywhere, they will be governed by one culture, the culture of America, globalization. So we may survive in globalization by becoming Anglo Khojas, or whatever you call it, or America Khojas, or whatever. When the women will have no parda, when the men will have no hijab, nothing of the sort, everybody will be free to act the way he likes, because there is a globalization, something which we can't confront. We don't have anything. Globe is too big, we don't have even a small globe. You see, we don't want to do anything. We just want that there must be chakula, that's all. We don't want to do anything. If you ask for anyone, any person, say that we are able to get one radio wavelength or band where we can broadcast Islam 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It is costing only this much. Nobody is going to pay for it. We are getting TV stations where the program will be paid for, but we have to prepare and pay about 10, 12,000 pounds. A book has come out which is very good. Please buy for so many pounds. Mafat ho to aapo. If there is free, give me 2. You see, no one comes out to say that give me 1 and take the money for 3, so that if there is anyone who cannot pay, may also benefit from this. Our values are different, and therefore it will subsist as long as Allah wants, but it cannot subsist unless the community has the ulama of its own. Ulama, trained by madrasas, not by the universities. I am not against the universities, but I am totally against Islam being taught by kuffar. I say it must be taught by ulama first, then go to kuffar and also learn their methodology and compare. But you can't be taught Islam by a kafir. A kafir is never your friend. He will sow the doubts in your minds while he goes on instructing. Learn from our side first, be strong, and then go and study. I have got no objection to it. It started till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this ummah an alim whose name was Sheikh Murtaza Ansari, who was born in 1214. Hijrah, that means nearly 104 years, 204 years ago. He was born in this fool. Young man, as he grew up, first he started learning in this fool, and then within Iran, and then he came to Karbala. Of course, he went to Najaf, and again he returned. This gifted alim is the father of the new science which is called Ilm Usul al-Fiqh, according to rationalization. He is the father. That is the reason why he is called Khatibul Fuqaha, means the end of the Fuqaha. Just like we say the Payghambar is the Khatimun Nabiyyin. He is supposed to be the one who has finished every work. By introducing so many new things, that today on his 2 books, Al-Makasib and Al-Rasail, we have more than 200 commentaries by great mujtahids. Each trying to explain what he is trying to say. But what is so striking about these people is there are three things. One, capability of riyasat, that means leadership. At the same time, fear of Allah, taqwa. At the same time, zuhd, means detached from this worldly desire. These three things are very important, my friend. When Agha Buruj Jardi was still not very known, not very well known, he had just come as a mujtahid in 1945. He had an operation for his hernia, and that time he did his nazar that if I'm cured, I'll go for ziyarat to Imam Rida alayhi salam. And while he was preparing to go, he said, "Oh people, will somebody accompany me?" From his students. The students were thinking that Agha Buruj Jardi, if he goes from here to Tehran, from Tehran to Mashhad, he will not be received the way a marja should be received, because still not very well known. So they were trying to tell him, inshallah, we'll go. Agha, it is winter, and winter of Khurasan is severe. When it was summer, they say, Agha, it is summer. So one day Agha said, now what's happening? It is summer, it is winter, it is this, it is that. I have made another and I have to finish that another and fulfill it. Now this time I'm going. Whether you accompany me or not, I am going alone. So one of the closest students said, Agha, the matter is that still you are not that famous, because these are the beginning days, the days in which you are still not very well known. We would like you to go in such a way that the whole railway station is full of people to receive you. Agha said, oh, so that is the reason why you have been delaying my going to Mashhad? Do you think I am a mushrik? That Allah who gave me birth, He gave me knowledge and capability of learning. He gave me ilm. Now I am going to make the accolade and the welcome of the people as His sharik. Honor is that which Allah gives you, not the people. I don't care whether somebody appears to say Assalamu alaikum or does not. I am going. What are you teaching me? Are you teaching me to do shirk at this age of 70? You see? So there has got to be detachment from the world. Zuhd, as it is called. Not caring about desire. They don't care whether this fatwa will please or will displease. If the fatwa is given, that's all. Because that is the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there's got to be taqwa. Ayatullah Shaheed Ansari, Murtada Ansari, died in, say, about 1267. I remember that much, that he died at the age of 67. So 67 plus 14, 81 maybe. Hijrah. In 1317, Al-Khuyb is born. About 50 years after. And Al-Khuyb started the same school which Sheikh Murtada Ansari had started. Rational and aqli school of usul al-fiqh. And in his own book he writes that I used to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Ya Allah, I don't want to be a marja. I want to be a jurist and a faqih so that the ummah may be guided. I don't want this responsibility. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined for him that this responsibility came to him late in life, but the longest. He was our marja for 22 years. Now, I remember in Najaf Ashraf I used to go to his class just to sit and tabarruk. Not that I was a student. He used to give his lecture after namaz Isha. Sit on the mimbar, and he would not allow the mic in the beginning. He would not. The hall was as long as this, perhaps longer than this. And he would not allow the use of mic. He said, those who are interested, come closer. I don't know what he would have done with Khojas, but the Arabs at least listened to him. They came closer. He said, those interested, please come here. Those not interested, sit wherever you like. So we used to find mujtahideen sitting around the member to listen, because he spoke, of course his voice could only reach to certain distance. He spoke in pure classical Arabic, without mic, and did not allow the use of tape recorders. Use your minds, and if you can't remember, write. And if you can't understand, ask. Now the world has changed, my friends. Well, I said there are 40,000 students in Qum. 10,000 of them don't go to any alim. They just take the tapes at home and listen to the tapes. Agha could foresee this, that there will be no guide and no teacher. People will take tapes and start learning. You can't learn from a tape. You must have a guide and a teacher. Gradually they persuaded, said, Agha, now there are so many students, allow us the mic. So he allowed mic. One mic was kept, and he started. And in that hall, there was no clock, and Agha did not have a watch in his hand. He had one, of course, in his pocket. But I marked, not on once, but 2 occasions, that he sat at about 7:30 p.m. Baghdad time, Najaf time, and he came down at 8 o'clock, not a minute here, not a minute there. Half an hour's address on fiqh. That lesson would go for 7 years. One course, how many? 7 years. For the mujtahideen to complete from Babu Tahara up to Babul Irth and everything. 7 years. And such 7 years, Agha Khui has conducted 7 times. So how many years now? 49 years. In 49 years, thousands of mujtahideen were qualified under the tutelage of Ayatollah Khui. Today we go to every part of the world, you'll find a mujtahideen taking pride. I have been a student of Al-Khui. I have been a student of Al-Khui because they have attended the class. Of course, all of them are not of the same caliber, but they are there who take pride in being the student of Sayyid Al-Khui. Sayyid Al-Khui, Ridwanullah alayh, had a system of deduction. He used to say that I will follow the regulations strictly, and my deduction and inferences will be from the available sources. Try to understand this. If any source is not available, I will not rule based on precedents. I will not rule on the consensus of the people gone by, believing that they might have seen some source somewhere. No. The source must be available before me, and therefore he used to rule according to the sources available, never relying upon the consensus of the past. And that's the reason why we find in some places he deferred, because he said, I don't see any source anywhere. In spite of that, every morning at 9 o'clock, before he started meeting the people, between 9 and 9:30, the mujtahideen of caliber used to come and sit with him and discuss his fatwa. And there used to be ulama who used to come and say, Agha, you have taken that particular hadith into consideration? Have you taken that particular word into consideration? What is the connotation? And Agha would answer. And it was so open-minded discussion that Ayatollah on 2 occasions in his life has changed his fatwa. Based on the discussion, he said, yes, I realize there has been an error. Why he does it? Because it is not for the sake of worldly honor. It is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us understand our mujtahideen and pay them the credit which is due. And let us understand that we also have got to put in some sacrifice by way of studies and by way of encouraging those who study and those who come to us after having studied and impart their knowledge. For this is the reason why today this deen is alive. We have so many ulama or so many maraji' and so many hawzat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the soul of Ayatollah Al-Khoury with maghfirah. May He grant him reward for all the efforts that he put in, for all the books that he wrote, for all the teachers and the students whom he trained, for all the ulama. We may recite Fatiha for the soul of Ayatollah Al-Khoury. Fatiha. وعجل فرجهم. Last Friday we started the subject which seems to have scared away many people tonight, because it was mainly dealing with death and with that which will happen according to the Ahadith and Quran after we have died. But however, while it is of course quite a frightful thought for everyone, one thing is quite certain, that everyone is convinced that one day is going to be his last day or her last day on this earth. And if we were to understand Islamic viewpoint on death, we would not be scared at all, because there is nothing to be afraid of. The question is that in Islam there isn't any concept of destruction. Death is not a destroying factor. Death means a continuity from one plane of existence to another, which is better and more lively. However, there is one thing which I would like to say as a preamble, that we, as I said last time, are not this body. This body is just a shell. It is a vehicle through which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to act, to display the effect of the external influences on our body, to display our pleasure and to manifest our displeasure. When you frown, you show it through your face. When you are rejoicing, you show it through your act and through your face. But actually the one rejoicing and the one frowning or distressful is you, who is not the body. Sheikh Abdullah Shubbar writes in his book, says, when you said سمعت بأذني وبصرت ببصري, when you say I heard with my ears and I saw with my eyes, it is just like you say وكتبت بقلمي, and I wrote with my pen. Pen is something else, you are something else. Therefore, when you say I heard with my ears, you are somebody else, and the ears are something else. Ears are what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept as a vehicle for hearing. When we were doing optics in our earlier days, our professor used to say that if one were to rely upon the eyes, everything would be seen topsy-turvy and two. If you say that I see with my eyes, you are mistaken, because the image falling on each retina is inverted. Inverted. I see you sitting upright, but the image on my retina of your sitting is inverted. When I say inverted, it means that you are actually sitting with your tops up and heads down, as far as my image is concerned. And you are too. because there are two images. But I see you as one and sitting upright. Therefore, in our science of optics, we were told that sight, as far as the eyes are concerned, they are the vehicle for sight. But as far as vision is concerned, it is the interpretation of mind. Mind interprets that you are one and you are sitting straight. Otherwise, if I were to go by physical existence, it would be two and inverted. Having said this, there is a veil between these two experiences. The experience of this body, which is made of flesh and blood and whatever. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, the beginning of this body is dust. Inna khalaqnakum min sulalatin min teen. From the essence of dust. From dust, of course, everything is created. And of course, finally, we were created. The origin is dust. But when we came here, then we have flesh and skin and bones and blood and all that, right? This existence is a shell, has veils. That existence which is within, which is the true self, does not have any veil. In order to understand this, it is very clear, those who are very mindful of the body, their spiritual existence is weak. And those who are not mindful of their bodies, I don't mean to say to be careless, but not very mindful of the bodies, their spiritual existence becomes stronger. A simple example. Nowadays, namaz time is at about, say, 1 or 2 minutes past 7. My dinner time is at 6 o'clock. Right? I sit on the table and have my tummy full of dinner because I don't eat in the afternoons. And now I have to wait for about half an hour more. At about 6:30 I rise from my table. And I have to wait for half an hour or so to be able to pray. The moment I come out, now shaitan starts feeling sleepy. And then you say, namaz time is up to morning. Eh? Mulla Sahib said, qaza is in the morning, so I can sleep 2 hours, 3 hours, and then I will rise. Namaz time goes off, I rise at 10 o'clock. Right? Or if I control myself and rise for namaz at 5 to 5 past 7 with my tummy full, Allahu Akbar, then I don't know what I'm saying. Because mind is not working. And if I wait and I do not have my food, and I pray first while the tummy is empty, you can feel the difference you might have felt today. So this simple thing of nursing one's stomach before one's mind can give you an example. This is the reason why the Prophet said that among many benefits of fasting in the month of Ramadan is that it purifies your soul. Provided you allow it. That hunger during daytime and eating less when iftar time comes, not to your fill, and trying to see that that state of little hunger is sustained throughout the month of Ramadan, you will see